Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is the amazing fact that Glasgow City Council, those that put the banners up, refugees welcome here, all that stuff, them, right, have now told the UK government's Home Office, please stop sending asylum seekers because we can't cope. Imagine that, eh? So this will be news to a lot of people because the facade we see from the SNP-controlled Glasgow City Council is refugees welcome here, bring them in, bring them in, bring them in. But that's only if somebody else is paying. Now, I've known for a long time that Glasgow was the only place in the Scotland that was taking any because they changed the rules on some of the ways people receive the payments to look after asylum seekers and illegal immigrants. Sometimes UK government will give local councils money so they can house them. And then other times they'll give it to somebody like Mears Group who will spend that money in whatever council they want, so the money doesn't go directly to the council. And Glasgow Council were the only council in the whole of Scotland who took anybody who wasn't paid directly to the council. All the rest rejected it. They said if you're giving us money to look after, say, Ukrainian refugees, that money was paid direct to councils, we'll take them. But if we're not getting any money, we're not having them, right? So now Glasgow City Council's realised the tens of millions of pounds per year it's costing the city and don't want any more. Well, that's not technically true. They'll take more if they get paid for more. But the place is bursting at the seams, and this is why I find it's incredible. I'll read this article out to you in a minute. And Glasgow City Council highlight the issues, but saying if you give us money, it'll be all right. Well, if you give us money, the only thing that will be all right is your bank balance at the end of the year. What will not be all right is the places that are bursting at the seams just now, and you're saying stop, they'll be bursting even more at the seams. So you won't be solving any problem. You'll just be creating a bigger problem, one that you don't care about, because you evidently don't care about the people in this good city of Glasgow. So the story I'm going to use for reference is in the Daily Mail, and the headline is "Stop sending asylum seekers to Glasgow because we can't afford them," says pro-immigration SNP Council. Now this is at the same time, I've done a video earlier today, I'm just not sure which one will go out first. But the SNP Westminster Party are tabling a motion tomorrow, a private members bill, which is asking the UK government to give Scottish government more powers in immigration, and they will allow, if it's successful, to allow Holyrood to write visas for workers, foreign workers, and bring even more people here. So the whole thing's rather contradictory. But anyway, the story goes, Scotland's biggest council is calling for a pause in the number of asylum seekers being sent to the city after bosses warned that it does not have the room or cash to accommodate them. The SNP-run Glasgow City Council said it had asked the Home Office for temporary halt to dispersals to the city, which had created significant challenges and risks. Glasgow is the biggest dispersion city outside of London, which is causing this problem. And we've had 4,000 at the tail end of last year, I think the official number was, and they're now saying they can't cope. It's amazing that, isn't it? SNP-run Glasgow City Council said it had asked the Home Office for a temporary halt to dispersals to the city, which had created significant challenges and risks. Now Glasgow is a dispersion city, the biggest outside of London, and last year, at the end of the year, we had 4,000 asylum seekers in Glasgow alone. John Swinney said the local authority was wrestling with a large volume of asylum applications without the resources from the Home Office to support the deal with them. The council said demand had surged in line with a rise in approved applications, that in more than half the cases it had been unable to provide emergency accommodation for those who needed it, which is a legal requirement. Now I know this because I'm hopefully going to get a Glaswegian guy who's been made homeless through no fault of his own. The landlord that he'd been with for 14 years, I think, was changing circumstances. His house had to get put in the market. He became homeless, and they basically told him there's nothing he can do for him, his family, which includes 2 kids. The council said demand had surged in line with a rise in approved applications, and more than half the cases had been unable to provide emergency accommodation to those who needed it, which is a legal requirement. The SNP's policy of placing more onerous legal obligations on councils to house those threatened with homelessness is said to have added to the pressure on accommodation. So again, this is a byproduct of a stupid thing that the SNP done without thinking it through. What they said is, if you're homeless and you're in Scotland, you deserve the right to a roof, right? Well, illegal immigrants and asylum seekers that are down south and in Wales and Northern Ireland soon figured this out and just started coming here. Why wouldn't you? Glasgow City Council said, for some time now, and certainly ramping up since late 2023, we've been trying to engage with the Home Office to address issues with the way asylum cases are processed and knock-on effect in city services. As part of that, it's been mentioned again for some time by politicians that a temporary pause on dispersal might be one element of delivering sustainable asylum provision in Glasgow in the long term. Alan Casey, an SNP councillor and the city's homelessness convener, had hoped to discuss the issue this month with Angela Eagle, the Home Office Minister, during her visit to the city, and requested urgent financial support, but Miss Eagle's trip was postponed and is still to be rescheduled. So what's basically happening here is it's SNP putting constraints on the SNP in Glasgow, but this law that everybody's got to get housed and it's bursting at the seams, will now tell Westminster we're not taking any more unless you give us money, to try and do a wee bit of arm wrestling with them and try to get a win-win for the SNP. The only people that won't win through this process are the good people that live in Glasgow, in a place that's already bursting at the seams. And all you need to do is wander about and you'll see that it lacks a lot of infrastructure investment. We could really be doing with some, but any money that we do get, that'll no help. More people will be here, and the infrastructure will be even under more pressure. It is estimated, this bit will blow your mind, that the cost of asylum-related expenses for 24 to 25 in Glasgow alone is 26.5 million quid. But here's the kicker. The figure is expected to rise to 79 million within 3 years in Glasgow alone. Now, I don't know where to go with this. It's bonkers. It's self-inflicted. It's a byproduct of the virtual signalling. It's all this get one over Westminster. There's just loads happening in here that have all convoluted into one big massive snowball of poo. Staying up to date with events around the world can be difficult, where it's impossible to consult a single source for the full story. Narratives that shape public opinion often just reinforce media and corporate-backed vested interests. It's hard to know what information to trust. See what the media is exaggerating, sensationalising, over or under reporting. That's why I've been using Ground News. Ground News is an app and website that combines news from around the world in one place so you can compare coverage. For every news source, you can see if it has any political bias, how reliable the reporting is, and who owns them. They even have a blind spot feed that highlights news disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. Take a data-driven view on the news and stay current. Get news from thousands of sources worldwide in one place. I've been using Ground News to help me get all the world's news in one place and give a more balanced opinion on what we read and viewing who is telling us the truth and who isn't. Subscribe via my link to get 40% off the Vantage subscription. It's the one I use to get unlimited access to every feature. Your subscription can not only help my channel, but also help Ground News, as it makes the media landscape more transparent. And the only people that are going to lose out from it are the citizens in this city. The council can't lose out because, if they get what they want, they get more money. If they don't get what they want, if they don't send any more, we don't want to be a dispersal city anymore. And that's kind of the game that the SNP play, and it's disgusting. And you virtual signalling, fan dancing about refugees welcome here and all that nonsense is just proven to be total bollocks. Because like most of your nonsense ideas, it's as if there's an invisible money-making tree somewhere that you just go and pick the bulbs off, right? And it's all right when somebody else is paying. So quite how independent Scotland would work. Where would you go with the begging bowl? Because they want more immigrants here. That's why they're trying to pass a bill through Westminster to give Holyrood more powers and issue its own visas. That would see more people come here. And if you're independent, then who's going to pay for all this? The unicorn fairies? Them? It's just absolute bonkers. So if you want other people to see this video, please do any of the 1, 2 or 3 of the following things. Hit the like button, hit the share button and put some comments below. They all help. And if you've not already done so, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. But most importantly than all of that, unless you're the type of government that want everything to be perfect, but you want somebody else to pay for it, and the people who will lose out inevitably are the good people of Glasgow. And no you. But
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.